Sir, step out of that seat before we have you removed. The flight attendant's voice sliced through the cabin, every passenger turning to watch. A black man in sharp royal blue suit sat calmly in first class, ticket in hand. Murmurs rose, phones lifted, whispers sharpened. "You people always try this," he sneered, calling security forward. Gasps echoed as the captain backed her up, threatening removal. But what no one realized was that this man wasn't just a passenger. He was the airline's power itself. "Sir, step aside or we'll have you removed." The words sliced through the hush of Gate 43 like a blade. Conversation stalled, carry-ons stopped rolling, phones tilted upward. Under the hard fluorescence, a black man in sharp royal blue suit stood with the stillness of a statue. His name was Noah Sterling. In his left, a leather briefcase with a small platinum insignia. No brand name, just power distilled into metal. The gate agent, Victoria Penn, didn't glance at the boarding time or the gate monitors. She looked only at Noah. "First class on Orion Air Flight 612 is for verified guests," she announced, voice pitched to Carrie. "We've had issues. You'll need to wait while we validate this." Noah's gaze didn't waver. "You've scanned it twice," he said, calm as a metronome. Both times it cleared. Behind him, people shifted. A man in a cobalt blazer, Brad Whitaker, exhaled theatrically. "Some of us have connections to make. Move him to economy and sort it out later." Phones came up, the inevitable hum of recording red dots blinking like tiny, hungry eyes. The boarding sign flashed. "Group 1, now boarding." The rope opened. Victoria didn't move it. "I'll need additional ID," she insisted, louder. "Company policy." Noah laid down his driver's license, an Orion Apex tier card, and a metal credit card that thudded when it touched the counter. The scanner glowed green. Twice. Victoria leaned in as if the laser were a jeweler's loupe. "We've had identity theft," she said, a smile that wasn't a smile. "First class is expensive." "Expensive isn't the word you're looking for," Noah said, voice soft. Her cheeks colored. "Security." Two airport officers approached, wary but listening. Before they spoke, a flight attendant in a razor-pressed uniform hurried from the jet bridge. Her nameplate read Sarah Mallory. She gave Noah the kind of look that measured worth by upholstery grade. "Sir, we can discuss this in the seating area," she said. "You're delaying boarding." "I'm at the front because I belong at the front," Noah replied, not moving. "I'm seated in 1C. Sarah's smile sharpened. "We'll determine where you're seated." "Or whether you're seated at all," Victoria added. A ripple of sound, half gasp, half groan, rolled through the line. Someone whispered, "Record this." A teenager with braided hair raised her phone higher, whispering to her live stream. "Gate 43, Orion Air. They won't let the black guy board." His pass beeped green, twice. The officers glanced between the women and the man who wasn't flinching. "What's the problem?" the taller one asked. "Possible fraud," Victoria said. "He's uncooperative." "Uncooperative how?" the officer asked. "Tone," Sarah said. "Refusal to comply." Noah folded his receipt and slid it under the boarding card with surgical precision. "I've complied. You're manufacturing a problem because I don't fit your picture of who belongs up front." Brad in the cobalt blazer chuckled. He said the quiet part out loud. Sarah's jaw set. "Sir, you can board after verification. Step aside." "No," Noah said, and the single syllable settled like a gavel. Tension thickened. Phones multiplied. The gate speakers pinged. Final call for pre-boards. Victoria's lips thinned. She reached for the ticket, pinched it between manicured fingers, and tore. The ripping sound cracked the air. Conversation stopped. Even the conveyor belts seemed to pause. "Counterfeit media," she announced. "We'll be flagging your profile." A chorus of "Oh my God" skimmed the space. The teenager on the live stream whispered, "She ripped it. She actually ripped it." Noah's expression didn't change. He took out his phone. Not angry, surgical. He tapped a single contact labeled simply Ops. Victoria laughed. A small, brittle sound. "Calling your lawyer?" "No," Noah said. "Calling my pilot." The taller security officer blinked. "Your pilot?" Before anyone could laugh or argue, a second uniform pushed through the jet bridge. Mark DeSoto, lead flight attendant. Older, lines at the eyes, the weary look of a man who'd seen turbulence you couldn't chart. He took in the scene, the ripped ticket, the phones, the posture. "What's the issue?" Mark asked. "Fraud check," Sarah answered, quick as a reflex. "He's refusing to comply." Mark looked at Noah, shoes polished but not loud, tie a precise Windsor, expression composed. He sighed. "Captain's coming," he said, and in the tone was a history of 1,000 small fires and a handful of infernos. The captain arrived like a verdict. Cole Richardson, 53, white silver hair, shoulders that still thought they were military. "I understand we have a problem," he said. Noah turned to him. "We have a decision," he corrected, "and it's yours." Sarah spoke first, crisp, rehearsed. "Passenger claims 1C. ID questionable. Refuses to step aside for verification. He's causing a delay." Richardson studied Noah with the particular arrogance of a man used to being the final word. "Sir, I'm responsible for safety and schedule. When my crew asks for verification, you comply. If you refuse, you deplane." "I've complied twice," Noah said. "The third requirement is that my face fit your comfort. I can't help you there." Richardson's mouth thinned. "Step aside or you'll be removed." From the queue, a woman in a county badge raised her voice. "I've been recording for 3 minutes," she said, steady. "His pass scanned. Twice. You're targeting him." "Ma'am," Sarah snapped, "this is an airline matter. It's a civil rights matter when you make it one," the woman shot back. The crowd murmured approval. Hashtags began to bloom. Hashtag Gate 43. Hashtag We See You. Richardson checked his watch. 11 minutes behind. The number beat under his skin. "Security," he said. "Escort him away from the gate. We'll resolve this after departure." "You're going to fly without resolving it," Noah said. "That's your pattern." The taller officer approached. "Sir, let's step to the side." "No," Noah said. He lifted the phone he'd been holding at his thigh, screen dark to everyone but him. "You're about to hear an announcement." A pin dropped somewhere in the concourse, and everyone could have heard it. The gate monitors flickered. The boarding lane display refreshed. The thin ribbon of LEDs along the counter blinked out and then back on. On Sarah's tablet, a red bar raced across the top, access suspended. Victoria pressed keys that didn't answer. The scanners croaked and died. The PA breathed, then spoke in a woman's level alto. "Attention, Gate 43 staff and passengers of Orion Airlines Flight 612. This is Dana Caldwell, Executive Vice President of Operations. All removal proceedings are to cease immediately." The crowd reacted like a wave hitting seawall. Back straightened, phones rose higher. Sarah's posture broke for the first time. "Passenger in question will board now," Caldwell continued, unhurried, in control. "We apologize for any misconduct shown." End quote. Mark DeSoto looked at Noah the way first officers look at weather, with respect. Richardson stared at the speaker grill as if he could stare through it. Noah slid the torn halves of his pass off the counter and into his pocket. "Thank you," he said, to no one in particular, and walked down the jet bridge. He didn't look left or right. The officers didn't move. No one breathed. Inside the cabin, first class hummed with the expensive quiet of good insulation and better design. Noah set the briefcase in the footwell of 1C. He didn't sit. Sarah followed, stiff smile back in place, as if performance could reverse tape. "Sir, I'll need your—" Noah opened a slim black wallet. The gold crest caught the cabin lights. He didn't flash it fast. He let it land. Orion Airlines across the top. Beneath his photograph, Noah Sterling, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer. Someone in 2A swore under his breath. A woman in 1A put a hand to her mouth. The teenager from the gate had come forward with the tide, and now whispered, "He owns the airline." Richardson arrived in the doorway and stopped mid-step, color draining. Mark DeSoto exhaled a word that wasn't a word. Sarah's syllables vanished. Noah's voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. "You just tried to throw the owner of this airline off his own aircraft," he said to the captain. "But that's not the problem. The problem is you would have done the same to any black passenger with a valid first-class seat." Richardson swallowed. "Mr. Sterling, Captain," Noah said, "deplane. Bring your license and your dignity. One of them might survive this afternoon." Silence rippled, and then the cabin's PA clicked. "This is operations," Caldwell said again, unmistakable. "Captain Richardson, report to the gate immediately. Replacement crew is en route." Richardson's jaw moved. For a moment, it seemed he might argue with the air itself. Then he turned and walked out, each step a smaller man. Noah turned to Sarah. "Miss Mallory, you're suspended pending investigation. Gather your belongings and deplane." Her composure crumpled. "Please," she whispered, "I need this job." "You needed integrity," Noah said, not unkindly. "You chose something else." Mark DeSoto didn't wait to be told. "I'll brief the replacements," he said quietly, already moving to the galley phone. In 1D, a man leaned across the aisle. "Sir," he said. Cheeks flushed. Earlier, I made a comment. I was wrong." "You recognized it and changed course," Noah said. "Let the apology be instructive, not performative." The replacement captain boarded. Jade Tomlin, 40, calm eyes, the steady authority of a professional who doesn't bluff. She nodded once to Noah, once to the cabin. "We'll be departing shortly," she said into the handset. "Thank you for your patience." But the show wasn't over. Noah stepped into the aisle and lifted his phone, speaker on. "Dana," he said, and the whole cabin heard the EVP answer. "Yes, Noah." "Ground operations. Standing by." "Good. Ground every Orion aircraft for 60 minutes, Noah said, the words like a scalpel cutting rot from flesh. Gasps sucked the air. "We're not wheels up until every station lead has read and acknowledged the new directive." A murmur rolled from row to row. Someone hissed, "He just grounded the airline." Another replied, "For an hour, to set a line." Noah continued, "Push an immediate bulletin to all crews. Dignity audits begin today. Any discretionary verification must be documented and compared across passenger demographics. Effective now." "Confirmed," Dana said. "Bulletin in 5. Noah ended the call and finally sat in 1C. He buckled in. He didn't look victorious. He looked resolved. The aircraft pushed back. On climb-out, first class returned to its curated hush. The teen who had streamed the gate scene scrolled through comments rocketing by. Hundreds of thousands of views, hashtags trending, strangers in airports clapping at screens as if the man in 1C could hear them through glass and sky. At 10,000 feet, a chime. No beverage cart could have been more anticipated than the captain's voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Tomlin. We apologize for the delay. Orion Air has initiated new passenger dignity protocols effective immediately. Thank you for your patience and for holding us accountable." A soft, involuntary ripple of applause. Not loud, respectful. The teen's camera caught Noah's profile, the briefest uptick at the corner of his mouth, gone as soon as it arrived. He opened his laptop. Directive, Dignity First filled the subject line. Bullet points appeared in clean, unsentimental type. Real-time escalation channel from gate to operations, visible to passengers on request. Bias telemetry on every ID check. Time, agent, reason, outcome, demographic anonymized but auditable. Body-worn cams for gate disputes. Privacy compliant but truth-preserving. Mandatory intervention training. When you see bias, you act. Rank is not a shield. Consequences with teeth. Suspension on first verified incident. Termination on second. Passenger Advocacy Board, with community seats and rotating membership. He paused, then typed the line that mattered most. Respect is not discretionary. When they landed, the jetway was a siege of microphones and lenses. Jade guarded the cockpit door. Mark guarded the galley. The officers from the gate guarded nothing at all. Noah stepped into the bridge of cameras as into weather, unbothered by the inevitability of wind. "Mr. Sterling," a reporter called, "why ground every plane for an hour?" "Because rot spreads," Noah said. "I'd rather lose 60 minutes than our soul." "Why not keep this internal?" another asked. "Humiliation was public," Noah said. "So is accountability." "What do you say to passengers inconvenienced by your decision?" "I'll never apologize for delaying arrogance," he said. "We'll earn back minutes. We can't earn back trust we didn't defend." By evening, Orion stock dipped, then steadied, then climbed on the backs of 1,000 statements like these from customers. "I can live with a delay. I can't live with disrespect." Policies pushed from draft to directive. Gate teams met with managers who spoke in new verbs: intervene, document, escalate, protect. The next morning, Noah walked into an all-hands meeting at headquarters. No stagecraft, no swelling music. Just a man who had been told to move, choosing not to. He told them the truth, that frontline staff live on the blade's edge between policy and people, and that leadership either gives them tools to honor dignity or leaves them to cut the wrong thing. That we had issues is an excuse. We fixed issues is a promise. That customers remember how you made them feel longer than they remember a fare sale. He ended with this: "If you ever wonder what Orion Air stands for, remember Gate 43. Remember that a uniform is not authority. Conduct is. Remember that a boarding card is not a charity. It's a contract. And remember that the person in front of you, no matter what row, no matter what suit, no matter what shade, belongs exactly where their ticket puts them." A week later, the numbers began to move. Complaints down. Applause, literal applause, captured on shaky phones as agents stood up for passengers at other gates. A supervisor in Denver overruled a verification with a single sentence: "We don't profile, we protect." The clip racked up 5 million views in 2 days. The teen from Gate 43 enrolled in a media law course because the world had taught her that footage is a form of witness. As for Victoria Penn and Sarah Mallory, HR did its work quiet and absolute. One resigned before the hearing. The other pleaded context and stress and misunderstanding. The investigation noted patterns, not moments. Suspension, termination. Consequences weren't the point. Clarity was. The only message that mattered, spread without memo or mandate, passed person to person, shift to shift, city to city. Respect is now policy, not a slogan on a lanyard, not a poster by the break room. Policy. Months later, a congressman asked Noah why he didn't keep his title hidden and fight as just another passenger to prove the system worked without his power. "I didn't fight with power," Noah said. "I fought with proof. Proof is the only language systems respect. My title got your attention. The recordings and reforms will keep it. And in homes and airports and taxis idling at curbs, people nodded, not at the cleverness, but at the inevitability. Because everyone had stood at some Gate 43, the place where someone decided they were almost enough. Everyone knew the sound of paper tearing. Everyone understood what it meant to say no, not loud, not violent, but unmovable. Noah Sterling never raised his voice. He didn't need to. He had something louder. The silence of a man who belonged, refusing to step aside. When he boards now, agents still scan his card. The light still turns green. The difference is in the eyes that meet his, eyes that have learned what the scanner already knew. And somewhere, inevitable as weather, another phone will tilt upward, ready to witness. Ready, if needed, to make the truth undeniable. But most days, it won't be needed. Most days, the rope will part. The aisle will clear. One sea will be just a seat again. And an airline will keep its promise in the smallest ways that matter most. Not with speeches, not with headlines, but with a quiet, "Welcome aboard, Mr. Sterling." If this story gripped you, don't just scroll past. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to see it, and drop a comment with where you're watching from and which moment hit you hardest. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because truth this powerful must never be ignored.